Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I actually had a different video idea in mind today, but I woke up this morning and there was snow on the ground. Not just a little snow, like a lot of snow. It was very beautiful. It was like that light fluffy snow that coats the trees, but I don't want to see snow as pretty as it is. I want to see the sun and flowers and green grass. So I am in a spring mood. So I thought instead, I can't even remember what video I was going to film, but I thought instead I would share some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes for spring and summer. I hope today's video can inspire you to maybe shop your stash and pull out some palettes that have kind of been sitting in the back of your drawer, things that you haven't reached for since maybe last year. And I do have a couple of new palettes to share with you guys as well. Just because spring is right around the corner does not mean that you have to wear bright colors. If you are into like smoky eyes or jewel tones all year long, then I say go for it. There's nothing wrong with wearing whatever you want, no matter what time of the year it is. But if you're somebody who likes to switch it up and just kind of falls in love with the different trends, I hope today's video is just fun for you guys. I don't know where to start because I want to talk about all of them. Let me start with two palettes that I had in my collection for a long time. I honestly reach for these palettes all year round, but there's something about the colors in these two palettes. They're Anastasia palettes that really appeal to me during the springtime especially. The first one is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette. I really think that this is one of Anastasia's most underrated palettes. It's such a gorgeous option. If you're somebody who loves pinks and purples and neutrals, I do think you will get a lot of use out of this. I'm somebody who tends to go very overboard when it comes to my eyeshadow. I'll start applying it and before I know it, I have like the most intense, vibrant eyeshadow look when I just meant to wear like a simple wash of color. What I love about this palette is that it's hard to go overboard. A lot of the shades are on the lighter side. They're a little bit more subtle, but you can create so many beautiful looks, whether you want like a light pink look, a light purple look, or even a simple neutral look. This palette, like don't let it throw you off. Even though there are pinks and purples in here, there are quite a few neutral tones. So I can get like a really good, easy, everyday look using just like the basic simple neutrals in here. And I love this formula because it's quick and easy to work with. The matte shadows are so blendable and the metallics look so pretty on the eyes, especially for spring. So this palette is so much fun. It will definitely be an essential for me over the next few months. I also love using my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette during the spring and summer. I think that a lot of people consider this maybe more of like a fall palette. Typically during the spring, I don't reach for these like super dramatic shades as much, but if I cover them up, I'll go in with a lot of the lighter tones for just quick and easy looks. I love taking this light pink in the crease and then this shimmer all over the lid. That's like my favorite combination because it looks so soft and pretty and romantic, and I just think it's an easy, fun palette to play with. I think that this is such a staple in a lot of our collections, but maybe it got pushed to the back of your drawer and you haven't used it in a while, so it could be fun to break it back out. I also love going in with like the front half of this palette because you can create such a quick and simple, easy, neutral look, and it's just easy to work with. It really is an effortless palette. So these are two that I'll be reaching for fairly often during the spring season. I do have a couple of ColourPop palettes to share with you guys. So I recently tested out the ColourPop Blush Crush palette, and I think that this one is the perfect option for spring. It's just a very small, compact 9-pan palette, but I think the colors in here are great for everyday wear. You get a mix of neutrals and pink tones, but overall the palette is very subtle, so you can get some great everyday looks. If you're somebody who doesn't spend a lot of time on their eyeshadow or you don't wear a lot of dramatic looks, I think you'll really enjoy this one. It just has the perfect combination of matte and shimmer shadows. A lot of the matte shadows actually have shimmer in them. So if you want that to show up, you can wet your brush and apply it like that, or you can also use them as like a matte shadow by just tapping off the excess shimmer. So I think that this is so much fun. It's really beautiful. And if you want more of a subtle pink palette and not a really intense like Barbie pink palette, I think you guys will love this one. The other 9-pan palette that I want to share with you guys is the Baby Got Peach palette. I am so excited about this palette because I actually had it, but it must have gotten like buried in my eyeshadow palette drawer last spring or last summer when they released it because I just found it in like January. So I've worn it a few times, but I'm so excited to wear this one during the spring and summer. The shadows are so perfect and blendable and smooth. It really is a flawless palette. The only thing that I don't love about this one is the fact that it does have a pretty chunky, intense glitter in it. That glitter is a little bit difficult to work with and I just don't think I'll get a lot of use out of it, but the other shades are so flawless. I might actually pop that one out and stick like a neutral brown in there just to have in this palette, and I feel like this would be my perfect spring palette, but I just think it's a gorgeous option if you love peach tones. It really is so easy to work with. The shadows just blend out so perfectly on the eyes, and I think it would be an absolute spring and summer essential for you if you were to try it. There is a ColourPop palette that I recommend that I don't have. I did own the Sweet Talk palette last summer and I did get a lot of use out of it. It was one of my favorite summer palettes, but I think I broke it when we were heading into fall and I didn't repurchase it just because those aren't shades that I typically wear during the fall and winter seasons. But now that we're heading into spring and summer, I kind of want to repurchase it. But I do feel like between the peach palette and the one that I'm going to mention next, I kind of have very similar shades. But I do think that palette has a lot of great options for the spring and summer seasons. You get some gorgeous neutrals, you have some pretty pink and corally tones in there, and it just has a good mix of finishes. You get mattes, shimmers, there's a super shock. I think there are a couple of pressed glitters in there as well, but I do think that palette is a lot of fun. I know a lot of people really love using it, so that could be a great option for the spring and summer as well. There is a new ColourPop palette that I do think is so much fun for spring. I'm wearing it today. I'm kind of in the process of testing it out, but I've been pretty impressed by it. It is the Sailor Moon Pretty Guardian palette. Now I know this one is in high demand, so I don't know if you'll be able to get your hands on it, but if you love Sailor Moon or you love the shades in here, I think you'll really enjoy it for the spring and summer. It is more of a subtle palette. I'm wearing the majority of the top 2 rows on my eyes today with the exception of the purple, but I just think it's fun. It's very warm toned, very bright, and I think that these are shades that I would love to use during the spring season. The quality is definitely there for me, but again, it is more of a subtle palette. So if you want metallics and matte shadows that really pop, you might want to skip over this one. This one is going to be geared toward those of you who like brighter tones, but you more so prefer like a sheer wash of the brighter tone, if that makes sense. I'll do some swatches for you guys, but I have been loving this one. I think it is a lot of fun, and of course, if you're a Sailor Moon fan, I'm sure you'll enjoy the packaging as well. Another older favorite of mine is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. Again, I've had this one for such a long time, but this is such a staple for me during the spring and the summertime. I feel like I should probably replace it because I'm sure it's getting a little bit older, but I just think the colors are beautiful. It's such a reliable palette. I'm able to create so many different looks using it, and this formula is really easy to work with. The shadows are blendable. They're not overly pigmented and they're not overly powdery like a lot of other formulas that I do enjoy. It's just like the perfect everyday formula. You get a nice seamless look without it being too intense or too rich or too saturated. I'm sure this is a palette that a lot of you guys have in your collection. It might be fun to break it out for the spring season, and if you are on a no buy and a lot of these like peachy warm toned palettes are tempting you, I'm sure you can create some similar looks using this. I recently purchased the Natasha Denona Love palette, and I know that these palettes were so popular like right around Valentine's Day, but I think that these colors are perfect all year round. You will have so much fun using this one. I love the lighter pinks and the golds and the purples, and I think that you could totally wear this during the spring and the summer as well. If these colors are like a little bit too dramatic for you during the spring, you can totally reach into other palettes to soften things up and pull in like some of those really vibrant warm toned neutrals and kind of mixed palettes. That's what I love to do. I don't always just reach for one palette when I'm doing my makeup. I'm somebody who loves to open like 3 different palettes and use all kinds of shadows, but I think that this one is really fun. I think the metallics in the Natasha Denona palettes are really nice because they're just soft and easy to work with, and they look so pretty all over the lid. I love using the shade Lifetime with just like a bronzer in the crease because it just adds like a pretty wash of color. And the last 2 palettes that I want to share with you guys are from Dose of Colors. If you're not what you would consider like an eyeshadow palette lover, if you don't love shimmers or metallics, or you just don't like taking a lot of time to do your eyeshadow, these are the palettes. I was going to say this is the formula, or these are the palettes that I would recommend trying. I got Sassy Siennas in a subscription box, so I haven't used it a ton, but I am familiar with this formula because I do have a few of these palettes. But these palettes come with 5 matte shadows. The shadows are so blendable. They're pretty powdery, but they blend out so easily on the eyes that I feel like I can kind of overlook the powderiness. But I love these palettes because they're so easy to work with. Like, they're very low maintenance palettes. You don't have to sit down and plan out a look. You can go into any of the shadows and they coordinate so well together. So these are really nice if you have like a very specific look that you like to wear over and over. If you're into like these warmer toned neutrals, I think you will enjoy this one. If you love pink eyeshadow, I always recommend Marvelous Mauves. I've had Marvelous Mauves for a long time. I think it's such a beautiful palette. If you love pinks, you will enjoy this palette so much. It's such a great option for all year round, honestly. It just helps you to create like a very soft eyeshadow look. If brighter tones are really too much for you, I think you'll enjoy this palette in particular. And the formula is nice. Like my mom does not like wearing metallics or shimmers on her lids. She just likes wearing matte shadows. So for Christmas one year, I bought her a couple of these and she loves them. So if you like matte shadows, I think you will enjoy these as well. So those are the 10 palettes I wanted to share with you guys in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I had so much fun filming today's video. I just love talking about eyeshadow palettes. I think they are so much fun, so beautiful. So I can't wait to wear these over the next few months. If you want to see a video on any of these, like a get ready with me, maybe using an older favorite, let me know. But let me know in the comment section below if there are any palettes you love to reach for during the spring season. And I will see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.